What do you hate about your partner, but can't tell them? My wife took singing lessons as a kid. She is certain that she has a great singing voice. She does not. It's so hard to be in the same house when she's singing, but I love her dearly and would never ask her to stop. Is this one of those you'll miss it when it's gone thing? He's really bad at taking criticism. Really bad. And I can't tell him this because feedback loop etc. I was in a relationship with someone like this for 8 years. She was otherwise incredible, but she had a huge ego and was absolutely incapable of taking any criticism. In her mind, the slightest suggestion that she had done something wrong was a personal insult. This is not a minor flaw. It is an absolute deal breaker. Taking criticism is how you improve yourself, resolve issues and move forward. It is absolutely necessary for a relationship to work. I'm by no means perfect, but I've improved myself a lot through the years. I've come a long way, and I'm proud of my journey. Still got a ways to go. It took me several years to spot the issue and realize that every single argument ended with me apologizing to her. After that I tried talking to her about it so many times, which of course didn't work because it was criticism towards her, like you said. Feedback loop. I stopped apologizing when I really didn't think I was in the wrong. And so our arguments dragged on for days, and they kept escalating because she was livid that I wasn't backing off and apologizing as I had done for all those years. Eventually it clicked that she was never going to change, and I was holding on to false hope. So I told her I didn't want her in my life and walked away from the relationship. Felt like a huge weight lifting off my shoulders. I now live in a different country, speak a different language, and have a different girlfriend who is by no means perfect, but who works so damn hard every day to improve herself, and who has no issue saying sorry and solving issues like a grown-up. I'm so proud of her. No regrets. Jesus. This is therapeutic. These replies vary from cute quirks to reason for divorce lol. It definitely makes you appreciate your significant other with some of these. The way she pronounces the word hamburger makes me die inside. Hamburgrams. Hamburgruff, that made me laugh out loud. That she sounds like a horse when she eats a bowl of cereal. Huh, I didn't know we were dating. The sound he makes when he eats bagels. Not everything, just bagels. And he eats bagels every morning for breakfast. It's disgusting. Maybe you need a blender. Yeah. Blend him. Will it blend? Boyfriend smoke. Don't breathe this. She's one of those people that walks too slow in the grocery store and stands there looking at us forever trying to decide what to get, not aware that two other people right behind her trying to grab what she's in front of and go. My wife will hum and haw over the price of items for 20 minutes trying to figure out the best deal. Like, I get that she wants to save us money, but she loses hours of her life trying to save 20 cents on $17 toilet paper. In here we have a small price that says how much is worth the item per unit of weight / volume 2L Coca-Cola 1. 20, 60 CTS liter 1. 5 random Coke. 45, 30 CTS liter, and same with rice, beans, whatever. I don't necessarily hate this about him, but he doesn't like to just kiss / make out. He will do it before sexy times, but not for very long. I love showing affection and intimacy by just making out sometimes and not having it lead to anything. He had some trauma with it, so I can't blame him at all. I just really wanna make out with him more. I have the same situation. My wife doesn't like to make out. She will a little before sexy time, but not much. It's a bummer. I miss makeout sessions. It's something I accept, and she's totally worth it, but it's a shame. There is a lot of passion in those makeout sessions. How indecisive she can be. We've talked and she's doing better, but it is extremely exhausting to plan nearly every single date / event / thing we do. My wife and I are both indecisive. We've started using the 5-2-1 approach for choosing things. I'll pick 5 things. She'll eliminate down to 2, and I'll pick the final thing. That way she can eliminate things she doesn't want without feeling pressured to make a final decision. I'm going to start using that. Me too, but I'm not sure whether to use that method or another method I heard about. His snoring. It's not something he can necessarily control, but he snores so loud that it disrupts my sleep. That's my wife. I can hear her 3 floors away. Turns out she has sleep apnea, and that's apparently one of the symptoms. It might be worth getting it looked at. Sleep apnea and atrial fibrillation go hand in hand. If you stay in a fib for long stretches of time, the heart remodels itself electrically. That's not good. The longer you're in a fib, the more likely you are to form a blood clot in the left atrial appendage and have it get knocked loose and go into your brain, causing a stroke. Get a sleep study. A CPAP machine is really helpful for managing sleep apnea and can stave off a fib. Huh, okay, maybe I'll actually go do that sleep study I was recommended in like 2018. Sudden death didn't freak me out that much. I know that's bad, but a stroke does. My heart does stuff that isn't a proper rhythm sometimes. Haven't had that checked out yet either, since it's so inconsistent. Thanks for the info. I once pushed in my husband's hemorrhoid while we were out of town so we could enjoy our vacation. There's nothing I hate about him that I wouldn't tell him after that. Eater, thanks for the awards. To answer a few questions. 1. He tried to do it himself and failed. 2. He had gone to the pharmacy and gotten preparation H cream and gloves. So I didn't go in barehanded. I'm not an animal. Guys. 3. An internal hemorrhoid can be pushed back in, an external one cannot. 4. I wrote that answer and went to sleep pretty soon after, and he hasn't killed me as of this morning. But that may change once he's seen the upvotes lol. Moments like that can really bond you together. They make you really realize that your spouse has your back even in unpleasant times. Telling them they chew loudly or something feels like no big deal. I watched my husband the entire time he was in the hospital. He thoroughly enjoyed it, and I don't mean in a sexual way. He's bathed me in the hospital, too. But I wouldn't let him do the naughty bits. We literally have each other's backs, fronts, and arrests. We are completely different regarding physical affection, but we have talked. It's just getting old to try to continue to fix this. This is why I got a divorce after 11 years. Got tired of bringing up my issues for things to stay the same. I'm getting real close to done after 10 years. She once told me my issues don't matter. I plan on a conversation soon. It's hard, but it's necessary because your issues are important. I feel loved but not wanted. Express that without accusation. This is something that needs to be communicated without blaming. It's absolutely something that can potentially improve in a relationship. I want to, but it's difficult to say without coming off like an a. Yay. Don't listen to people on the internet on this one. You can't open this can of worms without knowing how to keep them in. I'd suggest, at the least, therapy for yourself, and quite possibly couples therapy, if that doesn't help. I had this issue once, but came to realize it was me and not them. The core of it was I had a different expectation for how love is shown because of my parents. You don't want to insult how a person shows their affection without the proper tools. She has a hard time cleaning up after herself. I work full time during the week. She works weekends. The house is a mess during the week and spotless during the weekend. Monday night, I come home, and it's a mess again. Oof. Lady, get it together. And the way she drinks. Gulps everything like she out of air, and the only way to get more is to suck it off the bottom of whatever vessel she's drinking out of. Food noises kill me, and she knows it, but the gulping is unconscious, so I try not to let it bother me. Love her more than everything. She's my best friend in all ways, but those other two. The kitchen man. My plates and glasses are washed and put away instantly. Fizz or not. I've started just letting them sit there for days and then giving a meaningful look from them to the mess. I used to do that until my so mentioned how it was starting to feel like we were roommates instead of partners. They brought up the fact that they do a ton of things for the house that benefit both of us. But I was being petty and only doing my dishes and picking up my clothes. It actually was a good point because they are on top of our budget, makes sure we have groceries, and pays all of our bills on time, and does a decent amount of research on how to get the most return of investment on our savings. So, their dishes might never get washed by them, but I will not have to ever think about bills. We started playing to our strengths. So glad to see something like this. A lot of people don't realize that actually goes into running a household. I try my best to keep on top of everything, but sometimes cleaning up after 6 people just takes its toll. And it's constant. It's not like a paid job in which you can go home and not worry about it until your next shift. It's always there. It weighs on my mind constantly. If I walk around the house and see things that need to get done, but I just don't have the time for, forgetting things makes me feel even worse. But there is so much, and I can't remember it all. He's a bad kisser. I tried hard to communicate and help in the beginning of the relationship, but nothing worked or stuck. It's been a lot of years. I gave up. My BF just puts his mouth on mine and leaves it there for a while. Doesn't move it much. We've been together 5+ years and I DK how to bring it up or train him without possibly hurting his feelings lol. But I'd much rather have his weird kisses than no kisses. Can you try framing it as, hey babe, I'd really like to try something different this time to see how it feels. Can you try X, Y, and Z? I dated a man and found him to be a terrible kisser at first. I was very direct and constantly communicated what I liked and wanted instead. Some things we compromised on, but things got better very quickly. He still wasn't the best kisser I've had, but wasn't bad anymore either. You giving him coordinates? Are you kissing a maths professor or a robot? How low her patience is, and how fast she can get irritated. And I know how she is, and I know she doesn't mean it 99% of the time. But sometimes it has me overthinking, and I feel like she just hates me. I used to be this person. Turns out I had really bad anxiety. Panic attacks can come in the form of irritability and uncontrollable angry outbursts. Would recommend you have a talk with her and suggest a doctor's visit or some therapy. Edit. Well, I didn't expect this to go nuts. Glad to see some of you are doing better. Also happy to see some of you recognize it as an explanation, which is the first step to doing better. I'm proud of you all either way. Nobody mentions how anxiety can cause angry outbursts, not just panic and nervousness. This is true. Mine got to the point where I realized I was just angry all the time. For absolutely no reason. I tried going to a therapist for a bit and always just left angrier than when I went in, because it was so stressful for me to try explaining everything to a new person with no context. Eventually I got on meds that helped me get closer to a good baseline, with flares now consisting of just anxiousness, not so much anger. I wake up teetering on the edge of the bed every night. We have a king size bed and she is petite. I tell her, but it doesn't matter, every fucking night. So, I saw a diagram one day that completely fixed this issue for me. So when you go to bed, naturally, because you want space, you'll go to your side of the bed, or as far over as you can, so you can create space. What you want to do is go to her side and cuddle her, or just lay as close to her side as you can. Then at night, when she rolls over to your side, your body will be in the way and she'll stop trying to move over, thinking she's reached the end of the bed. Then you have all the rest of your space to roll over. Well, I know what I'm trying tonight. Lol. Thanks for the info. Believe me, it's much appreciated. Update: I'm doomed. I tried the advice I was given exactly as stated. All went well half the night, but 3 or 4 hours into the night's sleep, I got up to grab some water, and after about 5 minutes of being back in bed, a warm body moved up against me as usual. I just got up and slept on the sofa. Tonight we try the great pillow wall. I'm not giving up easy. It's only been 17 years of mediocre sleep. That they expect an apology for every hurt feeling, but almost never take accountability or apologize for their own actions when they hurt other people. That's pretty major. Yeah, this isn't a small pet peeve. His sneezing. He is allergic and can't help it, but he sneezes every day, usually several times in a row, and I hate loud sudden noises. I have to put up with my brother and dad doing this every morning. The second they wake up, they have minutes long sneezing fits. Drives me nuts. Edit. Both have extreme allergies and chronic rhinitis too. Brother recently for a head scan to check for sinus polyps. Only found a small one. My dad and brother fart loud enough for me to hear it from the comfort of my bed, so there's that. I shared an apartment with my sister for a few months, and she could create ones that sounded like a trombone that I could hear anywhere in the place. Her family is too detail oriented about insignificant stuff, like, I'll have to explain what aisle I went down in the grocery store before I can keep explaining what happened to me while shopping, or her parents go into excruciating detail about what they ordered for lunch at Wendy's. For F's sake, I love her and her family to death, but god, I couldn't care less about half the conversations they have. It sounds bad and shallow, but conversation with her extended family is even worse. I usually stick with not much. What's new with you? Oh wow, that's interesting, and walk away. It doesn't sound bad or shallow. I find people who just regurgitate mundane things in that much detail mind numbing. Sometimes for fun, I do it back until I see their eyes glaze over, but most of the time, I do what you do. That when a responsibility becomes too hard, he just doesn't do it and allows things to fester and become worse. Our storage that was lost, a tooth abscess that caused him intense pain I'm forcing him to deal with, and him not paying the registration on our car and it almost getting repossessed. I have no clue why he does this, and I feel like I have to be his mother sometimes just to get him to be a responsible adult. Not saying it's excusable, but it sounds like executive dysfunction. I have diagnosed ADHD, and it happens to me sometimes. Therapy could probably help, but what I do is I schedule an appointment to do the task. I put it in my calendar if I have to. Then when that time comes, it's the only thing I allow myself to do. Maybe look into it and see if it sounds like what's going on. Her constant talking. I love this woman, but she talks all day/night. I don't have the heart to tell her how much it bothers me. She is a bartender and talks all day at work too. It never stops. I have to mentally prepare myself for hours to go to my parents' house because they are both mega extroverts who will not stop talking the second you enter the door. They are retired and always home, and they sleep like 4 hours/night. I on the other hand am a super introvert who sleeps like 10 hours/night. Yes, I didn't Sistridna, and they are somehow both my parents. Yes, I didn't Sistridna, and they are somehow both my parents. Bro tries to disown his family. She's the worst dirty talker I've ever heard of. Worst, as in just bad and not sexy, or worst, like frightening and over the top. Why you're my little S, aren't you? She watches YouTube/TikTok videos on her phone and refuses to use headphones/earbuds. I hate it. Hearing videos from someone else's phone on any volume always bugs me. I don't know why, but maybe it's cause I can't see what it is, and it's usually paired with obnoxious talking, screaming, or random song clips. It's just confusing noise to me. I hate how she's a bad listener. Never wants to know about my day. Never takes my advice. Never wants to know what's wrong with me. What's the point of the relationship then exactly? Class a holder? Some people would rather be with the wrong person than be alone. Free rent? Mine is lame. Her time management skills suck. I tell my wife we will leave at this time, which is already half hour earlier than necessary, a day before, then first thing in the morning, then a few hours before. We are still late. Same. We've literally missed 3 weddings because they had already started and just went to the reception and hope no one noticed. Jesus. I'm pretty sure by the 3rd time I'd just be like, okay, well, I'll be in the car. I'm leaving in 10 minutes, whether you're here or not, and just go without her if she's not ready. Damn, a lot of people here are going in on their responses. Sounds like everyone has been holding this in for years. After reading this thread, I'm tempted to just live in a cave rather than trying to date again. I have a lot of pet peeves, and the thought of living with any of these described people is hellacious. Everything else about her is perfect, but I could say something, and she just gets quiet and passive for days at a time. Like, what the F did I do? I genuinely don't know, and I can't apologize if I don't know what I did. Brew, I swear I'm going to get a billboard that says I cannot read your mind. You have to tell me what upset you. Dude, I asked my daughter when she was growing up and having an episode, am I supposed to read your mind? She nodded yes. I was like, do you expect your mother to do that? She shook her head no. I was like, Then why am I supposed to be able to read your mind? She said. Because your dad. Then she crossed her arms and went back to pouting.